Hello, guys. How are you? How is everything
Hello.
going? How is the vibe coding going?
Good. Yeah, I have been using it for my work. It's going good. I have make some things from scratch and also use it for edit code. Yeah, have worked good.
Well, I have had some horrible experiences this week. I can tell you that.
Okay.
Some good ones and some bad ones. But everything is going well for you, so I'm really glad. Um, Anything you would like to share about what you did and how it worked?
Well, first thing I requested to create a webhook, basically a Django class for receive a webhook from HubSpot. So that basically was from scratch because the code base didn't have any webhook connection with HubSpot. So yeah, that was pretty neat. We basically built all the class, the security validations for the webhook that requested HubSpot. So all that looks good, and basically had a line where here should goes your code. That actually the action for, in my case, to update some contacts in the database.
Okay.
Yeah, it handled it well. And the other stuff, I requested to update some Django serializers for replace the use of some fields for a new ones. The new fields, the old fields were integer based, basically integer fields, and the new ones were are decimal fields. So I requested to update the logic on some methods to stop using the integer fields, and start using the decimal fields. That didn't well too well, but I got like a first, let's say like a first mock-up to start
Okay.
working. Yeah, so
Amazing. Anyone else wants to share something that you have been building with Cursor or and what which editor Cursor?
yes, I use Cursor.
Okay.
Yes.
No one else wants to share. I mean, I encourage you to everyone to really try using it for a lot of your tasks because we are here right now in this group of people working together in these workshops and stuff. So if you start using them during this course, then obviously you will be able to share your experiences. We'll be able maybe to help you, and we will be better together than waiting for the course to finish to then start trying it out. I would say that everyone should. There's a lot of things you can do with Cursor, so I think you should try doing some of them: copywriting, marketing, um, coding, building a product, building a project. Um, that's one thing that I want to do today. By the way, I want us to pick one project, all of us, not all together. Or maybe we can do one all together today, and then we do one separately for the next class. But something that we can launch and we can actually have users. Let's try that already. So let's do that. You can add in the chat here if you're building something already. If you don't want to like to talk, you can also share in the chat. Just just to remind you that when I ask a question, you don't have to explicitly like unmute yourself. You can just answer in the chat. As long as we have participation for all of us, the workshop is going to be better. So one thing that I've been doing is trying to polish all the content that we're going to have on the platform, and it has been proven. a little bit challenging because obviously I always target too ambitious, and then I get real, and I know that I have to tailor it more. We're going to be publishing two projects today that are going to be uploaded forever there. One of them is going to be configuration and the steps to finish configuring our cursor before moving forward. So I'm just going to share a link right now on the steps for the cursor configuration. So these ones are going to be the ones that I'll be publishing later on the platform. Let me share the screen. So I just want us to make sure that we have properly set up cursor, because it continues to happen to me that I find myself telling the same things all over again to cursor. And then that means it's something that I didn't tell cursor from day one. And that's why I keep repeating myself. So if we follow this particular project on this one, on the steps to open preview, here it is. On the steps to configuring cursor, I think we're gonna be way better. So make sure that you're using the right models. By the way, Cloud Sonnet version 4 was published yesterday. I think that's another skill that we need to start having. Like, you have to, if you were not a Twitter or Instagram user before, now you have to be, because all the new models are always released with videos. So I don't know what Rock is, but powered by Cloud 4. Look how crazy is this. Cloud 4 was released today, and there's already this product. I don't know what it is. Let me see. Vibe code mobile apps in minutes. Okay, I have no idea about this one. I should be following it. And I also have a list where I have all the vibe coding things here so that I can keep a better track of it. But Cloud 4 was released yesterday, and there's already products using it. Probably they had some kind of... that's crazy. Oh, well, this is not vibe coded, so that's not... But let me search about Cloud or Anthropic, I guess. Anthropic. Okay, here's the release. Here's the release they published. According to the new model of Cloud 4, it's like a gigantic move forward in coding with AI. They compare it with... Let me see here if I can annotate. I think I can. No, this is not it. Well, I don't see here the annotation tool, but if you compare it with Sonnet before, according to them, Gemini was... I know that Gemini is dramatically better than Sonnet for coding, unless you are trying to do creative stuff. So I'm not sure I believe 100% these benchmarks. I'm not sure I believe them, but still that they are actually publishing them makes me, like, as to a certain degree, I would approve and think that this is something that makes sense. At least the ratios, the ratio of improvements. Like, for example, they're saying that Gemini Pro was 63% at agentic coding in a particular benchmark called the SWE benchmark. It doesn't matter what's the name of the benchmark, because I'm not I don't want to get that technical in the review of how it works or how it was reviewed. But 63 from Gemini, that is the one I used today, to 72% makes sense. I think it's a dramatic improvement. Adjacent terminal coding, so coding on the terminal. Well, this is all of them are really bad. Reasoning level, it's worse than Gemini. I think that's why people mostly like Gemini, by the way, and how good is at reasoning. Visual reasoning, high school math competition. Like no one cares about this. So we should try it. We should try it and see how it works. But it's not yet released. Like if you go into Cursor and you go to the settings, you'll see that it's not here yet. Oh, it is. It's first time they do it. Usually, when Cloud or Anthropic releases a new model, they take like a week to release it because they have to do some. I'm sure it's not going to work perfectly. We have to give it like an extra week for Cursor to fine tune it, and we should do the to-do list test on it. The to-do list test is the typical application that I use to see how Cloud will respond to something. Just to build a to-do list and see how it goes. Another one would be to do a refactor, like some code that you already have, to do a refactor on it and see how it works. That's another good test that you can have. But yeah, so Cloud Sonnet, we should start trying it. If you guys haven't, start trying Cloud Sonnet because it's gonna be probably, if it's not amazing right now, it will be in a couple of weeks because they usually take a little bit of time. But cool. So let's go over this. Let's go over the configuration. I was already mentioning choosing the models, defining the custom rules. Have we defined rules already? Like, have you guys defined rules already? Or no? Any rule you want to share that you added? So going back to rules, what matters here, these are general rules. These are not specific rules. I have a lot of rules here on the left, as you can see. But we're talking about general rules. Like, for example, I added this one the last week. I added, I was when I code with Cursor, it was asking me too many questions. Like every time it was gonna do a command like npm run test or like npm run build, I was a little bit tired of it. So I just said, don't ask me again about these things. Or I also added to say npm run build every time it can to test that the code works, because sometimes it works, but it doesn't work when you build it. So that's another thing. But these are rules that are very like for me, right? Because I am using a lot npm and testing with npm test. So those are my rules. But you, Pedro, for example, if you were building some webhook and stuff, I guess these two rules will not like benefit you in any way. So I would say maybe what we can do is that we can have like some markdown files where we can have rules that we can copy and paste depending on the type of project that we're building. Let me see. What are some standard rules we should consider how to outline? I'm not really sure where to begin with. Yeah, Tomas is sharing this directory that it's good. This is a great tool. People are recommending it a lot. And here, for example, you can look for particular, let's say you're going to be building with React. So here's front-end developer. You are a senior front-end developer and expert in React.js, JavaScript, TypeScript. Follow the user requirements carefully in the letter. First, think step by step. Where I think this is too much. Like a lot of these things, the models are already doing properly. So this rule was published probably about 2 months ago when models were not as good. But that doesn't hurt to keep them. I mean, they will not hurt you, so that's fine. You can just keep them. But I think what matters here is that you're being very specific. And I was going to mention that as well. Like another thing that I want us to do today is to build an implementation plan. And so the first project will be this one, right? Like to completing the Cursor configuration. The second one will be to create the implementation plan. So for that one, we have this project that I'm going to share as well. We're going to go step by step, defining all the things that we're going to build. And we have to do this carefully because it saves so much time in the future. I would sometimes, just so you know, like sometimes when when I'm in the middle of the project already, and I find myself in a loop, always telling the AI to fix something that I didn't want it that way since the beginning. I know that it was because of the implementation plan that I didn't put it in the implementation plan, and you're gonna just put it now. Like, let's say in the middle of the project. If you put it in the middle of the project, some things you should not put in the middle of the project, because now you have some code already built, and refactoring is not the same as starting again from scratch. So some things, the list that we have here today that we're going to be building is a list of all the things I need to be from day one. Obviously, you can have like a huge implementation plan. That's not the idea. The idea is to have like the first implementation plan with day one. So let me just address this quickly. Like, first thing will be obviously defining the project or idea goal. Like, what do you want to build? And you can brainstorm with the agent chat. Let's say, for example, that I'm going to just switch to Asana. I'm going to build a new project so that we can have it cleaned, new window, and I'm going to build an implementation plan. And then Tomas, you can share the project once it's published, please.
All right, I will.
Okay. So I'm just going to create a new project. For that, I usually do it through GitHub. So on GitHub, I'm going to create a new project here. Let's call it, what should I build? Tell me something you guys want to build. Something that we can publish and have people use it. If not, I'll just pick something. So let's build a to list cultural events. Let's see. Let's just tell Grok for a second. I want to build a website to list cultural events. What is MVP that you think will address a real market need or pain that people have today about this? Hyperlocal cultural event discovery platform. Okay, so it's going to be hyperlocal. A simple, user-friendly website that creates authentic hyperlocal cultural events, exhibitions with personalized recommendations and community event-driven insights. Fragmented information, event info is scattered across social media, ticketing platforms, discover niche, choice. Okay, so this is great. Okay, so I'm just going to tell it here, write a small prompt with the project description and main features. I'm not going to say small. I'm just going to say, okay. So what is this going to be? This is going to be in the memory bank of our, so I'm going to put here cultural list. Cultural. We should come up with a name. How do we want to name it? Let me let Grok give me some sticky names for this startup. Yeah, let's call it Vibe Culture. What do you think about Vibe Culture? Is it good? Yeah. Vibe Culture. Okay, cool. And then I'm just going to grab this and put it here in the clone repo in Cursor. I'm going to put it here. It's going to automatically integrate it with GitHub. And I'm going to choose like the main folder only. I don't have to choose a particular folder here on my projects because it's going to create the folder for me. So just choose like your root folder. Cool. Now we're here, and I'm just going to add now what Grok gave me about the features. And I'm going to create my first folder here. It's going to be a memory bank. Please always have a folder called memory bank. And what are you going to have in that folder? You're going to have the implementation plan, of course. Implementation plan. And you're also going to have like some general description about the product. Like you can call it like about the product.md. So here it is. It's vibe culture, was it right? Yeah, vibe culture, and then hypercultural event discovery platform. Oh my God, I copied the names, not the features. Here it is. Build a minimal viable product for hyperlocal event discovery website that addresses the pain points, fragmented event information for quality events, choice overload, and lack of trust. The platform will serve urban users. So yeah, I'm gonna put side by side this and the actual project of creating the implementation plan. That is, where is it? Here. Okay. So look. So we're going to start with the project idea. We're already doing that. And then choose a project that you'd like. Let me collapse this to make it bigger for everyone. Here we are. Okay. Choose a project you would like to plan. It can be a simple, ambitious planning purpose. Give your project clear descriptive title. Write a short paragraph or 2 or 4 sentences. Then identify your target audience. That's already here. Look, 18 to 35-year-olds. I don't know why. Why ever just make it 45 or 55? Like, especially, I don't know why they would just ignore more mature people. I wasn't even there in that audience. That's crazy. I'm 39. Okay. Seek authentic cultural experience, exhibitions, main features. Okay. So you can see here that Grok is already choosing for me some of the technical requirements. I don't like this. I don't like Grok to choose it for me. I think, first, I don't like to be very opinionated about platforms. I think the only reason we would do that is because we want to prevent issues in the future, right? Like, what's our obsession here? What's our goal? Our goal is not to write code. I know it sounds crazy, but that's our goal. Our goal is to have the AI do it for us. So the more opinions we have about it, the more we're going to be writing code. Because when you tell it to do it in a certain way, then if it's not the right or the original way that it wanted to do it, it may cause bugs. You don't know how the LLM was trained. You don't know that. So you don't know if it was trained in the library that you want to use. You don't know if it was, I don't know. You don't know much about the LLM. It's like a black box for you. So you don't want to have a lot of opinions. And obviously, as more experimented you get, you're going to know which things the LLM knows. So you're going to be better at having opinions. But I don't think we should have a lot of opinions, especially now that LLMs are being still trained and we have major improvements every week. Who knows what they know, right? Okay, so I'm going to remove this part here. I don't want to have the about the product, anything related to technology. I just want to have features and that's it. Okay, so that's the first part. We already have a target audience and we already have a project idea and goal. Like I said, this is going to be published on the on the ForgeX platform. So when you're doing it yourself, you're going to be able to go over this and actually mark them as done. You're going to be able to mark them as done. It's going to track your progress. And this is going to happen today, not tomorrow. Okay, cool. So now we're going to choose technologies. I know that I just said that I wasn't opinionated about technologies, but it's not like I want to have very specific things. I want to have general things only general things. So for example, one thing that has happened to me a lot is that if I don't tell it what libraries to use for building the UI UX, it's not going to use any. If it doesn't use any UI UX library, your project will look ugly, man. Let me show you a project that was built without specifying any UI UX library. And I did it this week, by the way. I made the mistake of forgetting about it. So it's this. Wait a second. This one. Foundation. Let me just do npm run dev. Okay, there it is. Let me show you the output, like what it built for me. So here it is. I didn't code any of it. So this is the main screen. I was asking it to choose language on the main screen. And here's the UI. And then when you get in, this is how it looks. Like everything is so like, I don't know, like it was built by a junior, like by someone that hasn't ever built any UI. So this is what you're gonna get if you don't have opinions on the front end. You should have opinions on the front end. You should tell it. And we're publishing also today an article on, like a very thorough article on how to do this. Let me go back to the previous project. It was this one and then this one. I need to go back to the other one because this is not the one. I think it was this one. Yes. Okay. So here we have, yes. So choosing a front-end framework. Okay, so you're not going to choose React. You're going to choose ChatCN, because ChatCN is the UI that you're going to be using with React. So the real reason you want to use ChatCN, React, is because of ChatCN, not because of React itself. The same happens with Bootstrap. Like you can choose Bootstrap. Bootstrap is publicly known. Most of you probably know Bootstrap, right? You guys know Bootstrap? You can do a reaction with the finger up or something. Okay, so Bootstrap is also another good idea, especially if you don't want to complicate your deployment. Because sometimes when you choose React, you know that you're not going to have like so many files, right? You can choose Bootstrap if you don't want to have that many files, because Bootstrap can be imported only with a script tag and a CSS tag, and that's it, right? Vue, I'm not a Vue person, but I know that it has pretty good libraries as well, or plain HTML. So backend, you're going to choose. I think for this one is really important that you don't use a local database. So my strong recommendation is avoid databases at all costs, because databases are going to complicate your code. So if you cannot avoid them because you already have a code base, that's fine. But if you can, I think last time in the last workshop we used Supabase, right? So that would be my recommendation again. Like, stick to a one that you really like. And then the front-end approach, yes, I already mentioned this. And then the deployment, man. That's another important thing. Like, you have to choose from day one in the implementation plan how you want to deploy this. And there are not a lot of deploy platforms, like hosting platforms, that are friendly with LLMs. There are not. So you don't have a lot of options here. I think you have like 5 options, and that's it. Obviously, Amazon Web Services or Google Buckets and things like that are not going to be automated at all. Like, forget about that. Like, if you choose to deploy in one of those, you're going to have to do it yourself. The LLM will not do it for you anytime soon. Okay, so let me just continue building this implementation plan. So I'm just gonna move here to the left, and then I'm gonna put in I'm gonna build like a little prompt here. I'm gonna say, well, obviously about this product. So I'm gonna put here, I want to use React and Vercel React ChatCN and Vercel. Then another thing, what's happening here? Like, this is deleted now. Give me a minute, because I do have here some, here it is. Okay. Target audience. We already choose React. We choose ChatCN, Taiwo ChatCN. Let me have that as well. Vercel. Supabase. Cool. Where to deploy it? We already said Vercel. Front-end best practices. Okay, yeah. About this, the front-end is for me is one of the hardest things to achieve unless you do it with a front-end specific tool. So let's try that for a second. I'm gonna copy all this about section here, and I'm gonna go now right now to. I'm gonna go to Hero UI chat and see what we get, and let it go. Then I'm gonna do the same in Vercel in V0. I'm gonna paste it here, and let's see what we get. Here I didn't specify anything, but just the. This is something we can do as vibe coders. I think with the front end, before you move on with your front end, you should try prototyping a lot and having a front end that you actually like, because then you can provide that to the LLM. You can give it as a picture, or you can even give it the code. These these two platforms both are React JS oriented. This one will not be using ChatCN. It will be using Hero UI. If you guys don't know, I think we already mentioned this in the two previous workshops, that Hero UI is using the Hero UI library, so it's not going to be using ChatCN or the other one, but this one is going to be using ChatCN. So we're going to get both approaches. Oh, this is starting again. Why? Stop. I think I have it here. Yes, this one's better. Let's see what we get. Any questions here? Let me see. Oh, my screen crashed. You guys cannot see the screen? Let me share again. There you go.
Hey guys, I just add you to the new model where you have access to both new projects. Okay?
Give me a second. Still been in the chat. Let's give it a second. You guys don't have any questions yet? This one is like lagging forever. I think we gave a very big prompt, so it's gonna take a few more minutes. That's another issue. Like now that AI is building the code, it takes a lot of time sometimes too, and we just have to wait. It reminds me the early days of coding where we have to wait for the code to compile.
Hello, it's Felix. I have a question.
Yes.
Do you have this course, separate course for vibe coding in your subscription?
Yeah. That's what we're doing right now. Yes, that's a separate course.
Whole course?
Yeah,
How-
we're publishing as we go, right? We're publishing as we go.
How many hours course? Whole course. This is a webinar, but do you have a course?
Yes, there's a course. I would say it would take you about, I don't know, 80 hours, something like that.
80 hours? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how much cost is just subscription cost?
Yeah, just a subscription. It includes all the courses in the platform, not just vibe coding.
And platform and code has, you mean you have projects for this training?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you work in Cursor or in which one you have, or you have own
We are using,
platform?
as you can see here, we're using Cursor. We're using Cursor today, but we're gonna also be using Hero UI the next. Well, we're also using Hero UI here, but the free section, because we're gonna ask for your. We already have your emails to the subscribers, and we're gonna give you 1 month free for Hero UI as well.
So and I think Google has the same platform. You can work with Vibe techniques on Google platform.
Yeah. So here we have Vercel's proposal. Look, discover authentic cultural experience, feature events, discover events, free events, trending events this week, and a surprise me feature that I think looks super cool.
And one more question: would you record this webinar? Can look again?
Yes, it is being recorded, so it's going to be published in the platform as well. But we're going to publish in the WhatsApp as well, the WhatsApp group.
WhatsApp. Thank you.
Okay. So this looks good enough. I think this looks good enough. Let me check out the code for a second. So they gave us a setup. I think this is a good initial setup. We can make any tweaks or not. Let's just let me see. Is there a sign in already? Log out. Sign in. It doesn't have look, it has saved events, profile. I can edit. No, I cannot edit my profile. It has so many features already. This is crazy. Okay, I'm gonna download this. They already added integrations. This is new. This is like from last month. And I can even deploy here. This is using this platform, we built learnpack.co. This website was built using Vercel, all of it, including the animations and everything. By the way, I don't know what happened to the videos. There were supposed to be videos here. Yeah, but the entirety of this website was built using Vercel. Okay, let me download this. I'm gonna download the zip, and I think it's a great idea to, since this is the first time this is the first project that we're building. The first time the project is being built, we don't have any code base. So I agree on moving from Vercel to Cursor in this particular case. And the reason I agree
I agree this now. Give me a second, because can I publish all of this? I think so, yeah. Libhooks, components, package JSON. Yeah, I'm gonna put it like this. Okay. Add folders to workspace. Okay, so we have the memory bank like we had before, but now we have an app folder, components folder, hooks folder, and lib folder. And what we're gonna do is, since we like that layout, we don't have to now worry about, because I was saying here at the beginning of the workshop that we have to like think hard on the front end best practices, but now we don't. Now we don't, because they have been already built for us. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna tell Gemini, in this case, to create the implementation plan, already thinking about this front end that we already have. So like this, look, I'm gonna say, let me copy from the lesson that we have on the platform. Let me copy this implementation plan. Here at the end, you're gonna find, in what Tomas published, you're gonna find this implementation plan example. So I'm gonna paste it here so that we can all look at it and work on it. Here it is. So here's a sample implementation plan, right? So it starts, I want to build a learning management system. So I don't want to do that, right? I'm gonna tell Gemini here. So read the implementation plan that I have, the example implementation plan that I have. Let me rename this to example implementation plan. And then I'm going to tell it, read the, and with an @ symbol, you can incorporate new files, right? So I'm going to say, read the example implementation plan that we have, that I wrote, and create, based on that one, create a new implementation plan on Vibe, on memory bank, I guess, on memory bank / implementation plan that that takes into consideration the features described on about the product, but also the current architecture that we already have in the entire code base. And we can say here, I think we can say code. We can say files and folders, and we can specify which folder. So for us will be Vibe Culture. Why Vibe Culture? Because it has, oh, wait a minute. I need to put this. This is wrong because all these files are in the wrong place. They have to be under Vibe Culture. That's the main folder. Let me put them inside. Move. There you go. But they didn't move. Move them. Are you sure you want to change the order of multiple root folders? Yes, move them. Okay. But it didn't move them. They're still outside. It's not moving them. Oh my God. This is so annoying. I guess I'll do it manually. I'll just tell Gemini to do it. move everything under vibe culture. I think the command is mv space asterisk slash, but here it is. That's the command. So what's happening here? Are you moving it? Oh my god. I have no idea what happened. No. Go back. I screw up my project. Let me just move this outside. Delete all of it.
You can also discard the changes you did on the
No, come on.
last.
I look here for
Yeah.
the button. It doesn't have them. Look.
But what if you scroll up? You can scroll up to the message. Yeah, click on edit the message that you asked them for, like the prompt. And if you ask for something else, you can like make the changes back to.
I know what you mean, but it doesn't do it when
It's not giving you the okay.
when you move files and things like that. It doesn't do it for you.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It only does it for like code changes. So I think it's gonna be easier if I just remove all of this, because we have a real mess now here. Remove here. Move everything to the trash. Sek is refusing to delete it, man. Oh my god. So let me just check the real folder, because I'm scared now. Look, all these files are. Oh no, this is not the project. The project is here. In documents, code, and then vibe culture. Vibe culture, yes, it's empty. So that's good. That's great. Just gonna remove this one now. Great. So now I'm just gonna paste back the Vercel stuff that we downloaded. Here it is. I'm just gonna move all of this here. Oh my god, I'm having the same issue all over again. Let me do it manually here.
Yeah. I think you need to, when you paste it, you need to put it a bit above. Yeah.
No, but here, it's empty here. Look. I think I know what's happening. It's not really adding it. It's like it's adding the original source of the folders without moving it into the folder.
Yeah.
It's like some virtual alias of the actual folder. I don't know. I didn't know that feature existed. And I have moved a lot of things, and usually I don't have any issues, but whatever. Here it is. I'm just putting it manually now. And now we have it. So there you go. Don't move things like that ever again, like I did. Okay, so I think we can just ignore this chat. But when you want to remove like the history of everything you're saying, you can close all chats and then start again. This will start like without a context. So now we still have the memory bank, so that's great. And let me make sure that we are in the right folder. Yes, we are. Yes, we have the same thing. Cool. So I'm just gonna say now here, based on the about the product. About the product. Come on, man. About the product. I'm not sure now what happened. We have like two separate about the products. I'm just gonna. Can you read the about the product? Okay, cool. So it seems that it's accessible. So based on that, based on the about the product file and the current project architecture, builds an implementation plan similar to example implementation plan with very clear steps on to follow, clear and small minimal steps to follow to start adding functionalities to the current front end we already have. Let's see what we get. Write this into the implementation plan folder. And let me open that one. It should be empty. And let's see. 1, 2, 3. So we should have now oh, look, it says code base not indexed yet. Results are much better than when indexed. So it was still, you can see a note here that it's currently indexing the entire code base that I added. So I think this may fail because it still doesn't have the entire code base. But we'll see. We'll see what things are being detected. Is there a comment here? Someone's asking, Pedro, you're asking if we should say build or write. In this case is write, because we're writing an implementation plan. Let me see. I said write, so that's great.
Yeah, my question was above in the first paragraph, you use build. So yeah, I don't know if they can think, like start to code. Yeah.
I think it's a great observation.
Well, here we have it. Look. Oh, but wait. So there's a prompt, and here's the implementation plan. So step 0 would be confirm the current project front is set up with React, Vite, Chatien, and Tailwind. Ensure that supervised project has been created and you have its URL alert key. Install the supervised client. Configure the supervised client. Basic app shell. Oh, I forgot one more thing. I also want to tell it to deploy. So I'm just going to say here, I like the implementation plan, but let's make sure we deploy as soon as possible, but also on every significant functionality upgrade. Let's see how it gets edited. I'm going to accept. I just accepted the previous one because I want to focus on the changes that it's making now. So if I don't accept, then I'm going to have like an entirely new implementation. I'm not going to know which changes was made. No, but write this on the implementation. And then I'm also gonna remove this initial prompt here at the top, the requirements. But not right now. Let the LLM finish. We can continue checking what it's doing. Then it's doing user authentication with Supabase, auth UI/UX components. It seems that it. Let's see if it's actually reading the auth layout. Create area layout for consistent layout. Ensure that necessary JavaScript components are available in stealth dark mode. Create a sign up page / sign up. Oh, look, the app is empty. I wonder if that was true at the beginning. I think it wasn't. Oh, no, it is. Is the app empty here? It's not. Okay, so we had an issue here. Let me get into Vibe Culture. And then I'm gonna re-paste all of this. Oh wait, replace, apply to all, replace. Okay, so the app is not empty now. Okay, let me remove the upper part. And I'm gonna say it again because I don't trust it. I'm gonna say again. Review the app. Here, folder. Vibe code. This is not the cursor is having some issues with the indexing. It's not indexing the right thing. It thinks that there's a folder called Vibe Culture and then another one separately called Memory Bank. Okay, review the Vibe Culture folder. And
Hey, Alejandro, I think Rolando has a question.
Okay.
He just raised his hand.
Go ahead, man. We're not listening to you. Are you muted?
Yeah, we're not listening, Rolando.
Okay, I'm just telling it to revise again now the entirety of the folder, now that I'm sure that we have all the files. And to review the implementation plan to make sure that it's taking into consideration everything. And it says, okay, I have reviewed the Vibe Culture folder you provided. It appears to be an Next.js project with not a Vite-based project, similarly assuming the example plan. Yes, in the example plan, we had Vite. Need some adjustments to align conventions. Use a summary of the main changes required. It's going to change the technology stack to Next. It's going to adjust the past pages, components, and utility files to match Next app router. It's going to use a file system-based router. It's going to create the environment variables that are needed. This is often handled using Next middleware. Okay, thanks for confirming. Here's the plan. Okay. I think we're better now. I trust this now. In your project manual, let's go with utility. Ensure the main layer component has a basic structure. If an order separation homepage displays a welcome message, auth, let me see, course creation, instructor focus. What do you mean course creation? What? This is not a course creation project. We are not building course creation project. Here is what we are building. And then I'm gonna mention the memory bank about the product. Update the implementation plan to build this. I think we didn't start with we started with the wrong foot, basically. So I'm sorry about that. As long as you are still in the implementation phase, we're good. We're not gonna have that many issues in the future. So all we have to is like to read this and be in agreement with this implementation. That's why it's so important. That's why I wanted to base the entire workshop for today on building our first product, but particularly focusing on the implementation plan so that we can be good at this. Okay, I understand. The project is Vibe Culture, not an LMS. I've reviewed about the product and will now completely overhaul the implementation plan to align with this new direction. The core stack will be maintained. Here's the new high-level structure. So project setup, user authentication, event submission, search filtering, basic personalization, community validation. I will now write the... Okay, that's great. We're more in alignment now. Have you guys checked the new codex from Apple and OpenAI? I was reviewing it today and it was interesting. Let's read this again. So, supervised database schema, basic homepage, event detail page. Let me see if this is true. So apparently in app, events, event ID page, we have something. So events, ID page. Yes, we do have the event detail page here. User authentication. I think this may work, but I don't see any deployments. So what happened? No. Make sure we deploy as first step, but also in every feature.
I think it's on the bottom.
Where? Like at the end?
Or no, you pass it. It says go down, up, right there.
Oh, you're right. Man, look, that's great. Okay, cool. But I do want to deploy first before we start. So that's first step before starting anything. Before starting to implement, because we already have an initial code base that needs to be reviewed and deployed to Vercel. And that's a great that's an important thing too. I'm so obsessed with deployments now because it has been an issue so many times. You're right, it's crucial to get the existing code base deployed, review it from Vercel before we start a new feature. Okay, I will modify the to insert a file 0, and I'll apply the same to the entire memory implementation plan. Okay, cool. So ideally, you just say the word Vercel and it should deploy. But I'm gonna wait for the LLM to tell me to do it. First, let's finish the memory bank, the implementation plan.
Yeah, if you haven't tried Codex, I'm not sure if it's free or what, but I saw a couple of videos and it sounds interesting. I don't think it's for everything. Not every project is for something different. This one, it's cool because you choose which repository you wanna change and what do you wanna do with it, and it doesn't give you access to the code or anything. It will just do it and send you a pull request. So that's interesting. You can just tell it like, I don't know, make this change on the repo, like, I don't know, refactor it to switch from Next.js to Vite, and it will do it for you, and it will send you back a pull request. For me, it's an interesting way of seeing it. So I think it will be used for particular things. Hero UI never finished it. Look, I don't know what happened there with Hero UI. I'm just gonna close this one now. Okay. So here's the step 0, where it starts with that. So I'm just gonna, let's begin implementing. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Okay, but I want you to do it. No, I think it doesn't understand that we can do Vercel. So basically we can do Vercel like this, Vercel dev, and see. It's going to tell us set up and deploy. Yes. Where? Doesn't matter in this one. Link to existing project? No. What's the name of the project? Vibe Culture? Yes. In which directory is the code located? In the root. Want to modify these settings? No. Let's see what we get. Oh, it says command not found. So I guess I have to do npm run install. Like, why are you not recommending me to do npm install and those sort of things? I don't understand. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it. The reasons I haven't specifically recommended npm installer is because we're focusing on deploying. Yeah, but how can I deploy? Oh my god. What's happening here? I think it's PNP. Let me see. PNP. Install. Command not found. Which version of Node do I have? 22. Do I have to? I have to use PNP, and I don't have that. So for all local development installing dependencies, you should stick with PNP commands instead of okay. Maybe I can say npm install pnpm. How can I install pnpm? You see, that's the problem with the technology. Sometimes it will recommend after the subscription finish, you need to restart the terminal, or okay. Alternatively, you can use it doing npm. Okay, done.
Let's see, npm pnpm minus version. Okay, great. So now I can say pnpm install. Amazing. It's installing now. So the problem with the initial steps and the deployment is that it's still too manual. There is a Windsurf made an agreement with Netlify. So you can read about it here. So Windsurf and Netlify. So what happened there is that they signed an agreement and they have automatic integration now. So if you are using Windsurf, you can now deploy from the actual editor. You can click the button deploy. I think that's amazing, right? It is amazing. But we'll see. I mean, I think this is the future. We're not going to have to manually deploy, or the LLM have to run commands to deploy. I think here it is. You see the button for deploying. We can try that. Since we have a month for free, we can try that next workshop. But yeah, here it is, the npm. Okay, I did. So the pnpm install work. Now what? I think the next step is virtual dev. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Now let's see if this works. Oh, I went and running another port. I went and running 3001. Here it is. So it's running locally. We are able now to have our front end locally, and it works exactly the same way. Here it is, that it was working on Vercel. So now we obviously have to publish it and see if it works. Okay. So let's do that. According to this guy, we have to add environmental variables, but we don't have any. So I'm just going to say Vercel. Now I say Vercel instead of Vercel dev, just Vercel. And it will publish to production now. It's doing it. If you want to check the status, you can click on inspect. But usually it's so fast that I don't even do that. I just click on production. But it's still building. So let me check on inspect. It has been building for 26 seconds. Here you can actually check the logs. These are the same logs you will get on your computer. So you mean like when I search in the browser, it's for Google, because I have default DuckDuckGo. But this is gonna go away. Like I'm gonna stop using DuckDuckGo. It's just like too horrible now. Like it's before it was a little bit worse than Google. Now it's really, really worse than Google. So now it's too much for me. It was about privacy, but they weren't able to keep up. So I'm not gonna be using DuckDuckGo anymore. It's still deploying? No, it's done. Look, it works. Amazing. So we have a front end that works. It has a weird like margin on the right for some reason. Is that also on the local? Yeah, it was also on local. So yeah, I'll not worry about that yet. So since that we have this now, we can just now move on with the next step. The deploy was successful. Move on with the next step. You see that the cool thing about an implementation is that I don't even have to think anymore about the prompts. We already have like a very thorough process and we're just following it. So we have already configured your front project set up with that. You have already created a supervised project. No, I haven't created a supervised project. If yes, please ensure you have your supervised project. No, I'm going to tell it update the implementation. Since we're still early, I can still say this. Implementation plan because because we will be using MCP. What's the name? Supabase, MCP, and you will take care of dealing with Supabase. Okay. You guys need any reminders about MCPs? Should I take a moment to explain it, or we're good? You can have thumbs down or thumbs up on the reactions, or you can just put it on the chat, whatever. Thumbs down means that you want a refresher. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, I'll give a refresher. So the MCP will mean that you see how, for example, you want. Let me go back to Vercel. So when we were doing V0 here, that we were doing the front end back in this phase, it asked us about integrations here. Look, these integrations here. So these integrations here, they only have these integrations because there is an MCP server. Like MCPs are a way to communicate with other things like your house, like your email, like your light, your house light, the smart light. It's like a way of communicating with the exterior, but it's only meant for LLMs. So an model context protocol server, it's a little server that takes care of letting the LLM know how to deal with something else. So for example, if you're a company, 4 gigs, let's say 4 gigs, we need to desperately publish an MCP server. Like we need to, because if we don't, LLMs will not know how to interact with 4 gigs. And what happens, for example, if a student wants to, I don't know, change a subscription. Today, you have a ticket platform, you have a Tomas and me, and you have a WhatsApp, you have to tell them how to do it. Like with MCPs, the student will be able to go to Cursor, and this is the ironic part of it. Like Cursor will become your center of command for your life, not for coding. Because you will be able to tell Cursor, send an email. You are able, by the way. I do it all the time now. I'm able to send emails through Cursor. I'm able to send SMSs. I'm able to do, here, let me show you. In the MCP section, you can see that I have configured, and there's a mistake right now, but I have to fix it. It's quickly to fix. Anything that Zapier can do, I can do with Cursor now. I can deal with Vercel. I can deal with Supabase. So for example, if we're talking about Zapier, I don't know if you guys know what Zapier is, but Zapier, basically, it's this marketplace of places where you can do things. For example, in Zapier, I can tell Zapier to, I don't know, every time a GitHub repository has a new branch, every time a GitHub repository has a new branch on my personal GitHub, I want you to, and then here you click and you say, send an email. I want you to be sending an email to my account, right? This is Zapier. Probably everyone knows about Zapier now. So Zapier is this marketplace of interactions between applications. Zapier now has an MCP. So that means that everything Zapier can do, I can do now from Cursor. So basically, let me see here in Discover. Everything you see here in Discover, lead management. Like, look at these examples. Wait. Here. Add a new Facebook lead. Add new Facebook lead ads on Google Sheets. I can even tell it like an application. Apps. Let me go through apps. And let me go through like Gmail. Yes, Gmail. So these are the things, example things you can do with Zapier. And now with Cursor, you can say, save a new Gmail attachment to Google Drive. You can send emails in Gmail for new leads in Facebook. Or the more complicated ones, like create a Trello card. Trello, it's like a Kanban board system for on Google Sheet Row for any new emails that I get on my Gmail. Like, there's so many things you can do now. Like, so cool. So now we have MCPs. So what that means is that finally, the Avengers movie scene from Jarvis. I don't know if you guys remember when Iron Man was trying to look for here, like all these conversations where Jarvis was helping Iron Man to do stuff and to find people. All those scenes can now be done finally. Like, we are finally able to have an AI that does many things without a training, because before MCPs existed, MCPs have been existing for the past 2 months, but back in the era where MCPs didn't exist, the only way to have LLMs communicate with us was by doing custom implementations. So for example, let's say you have an LLM here that it's called Sonnet. If you have an LLM called Sonnet, you have to have a server now, right? You have to have a server. And if you want your users, let's say for Geeks users, for Geeks students, to be able to know things that for Geeks, like what workshops are available or are happening at 4Geeks. And I want to have a chat, right? And that chat will be like the agent, right? A small chat. And I want that chat to be able to answer questions to 4Geeks students. So the 4Geeks student will ask to that chat. This chat we can also call an agent. And this agent will call the 4Geeks server. The 4Geeks server will connect with Sonnet. And then Sonnet will my bad, I skipped a step. Give me a second, because I wanna add a new step here. My bad. Okay, cool. We have to have a database at 4Geeks. We have to have something called a vector database. And in that vector database, we have a bunch of strings. We have a bunch of like answers. Like, for example, we can have, let's say you have all your workshops in, you can check here, we have our workshops in an API request. So let me show you that API request so that we can work with that. It's somewhere here. I think it's here. Yes. Here it is. So this API request returns all the workshops that are coming. No, not the workshops. See, this one. These are all the classes, the upcoming workshops. There, look, workshops. 5 vibe coding. This is the one for today, I think. I know this is the one in Spanish. But yeah, this is an array, an API request where with all the workshops that are upcoming for 4Geeks. So you can see here it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 workshops that are upcoming. So if I want to send this to an LLM because I want the LLM to answer the student, then I already have my database of workshops here, but that's not enough because this is JSON based, right? It's like JSON data. These LLMs cannot read this. They can read it, but not properly. So I would have to first convert that into a vector database. And for that, we have something called Pinecone. And I would have to fit it into Pinecone. And then right before sending that into Sonnet, I would have to go through Pinecone. And then from here, I will send it to Sonnet. So Pinecone, believe it or not, will be the one doing the hard work of fetching all the JSONs and feeding them into Sonnet. But it will not feed them into Sonnet as a JSON. It will feed them as a text. So you will have a text saying, I don't know, these are the workshops, and then with bullet points, every single workshop out there. So this is done here. This is done by 4Geeks. We have to be the ones doing all this code to be able to have a memory where all the workshops, upcoming workshops are, so that then Sonnet can receive it and then answer. to the server, obviously, and then the server will answer to the chat. But now, thanks to MCPs, let's say now that we have Cursor here, or not Cursor, any agent that is MCP ready, right? So let's call it an MCP ready agent. If you are an MCP ready agent, you can have an MCP server installed in your computer. So this will be an MCP server that is installed in your computer. And this MCP server the agent will talk to the MCP server, and the MCP server will talk to the JSON database. And that's it. There's nothing else. And then it will just answer back. So we removed a lot of steps here. We don't have to have Pinecone anymore. We don't have to have Sonnet anymore because Sonnet is already embedded into the MCP agent. So Cursor already has Sonnet. So before, who was paying for Sonnet before? For gigs. Who's paying for Sonnet now? Cursor, so the student, right? So you already have your own Sonnet version in Cursor. So a great thing about MCPs is that the cost is moved to the client. And this is good because the cost, when you move it to the client, it's way less expensive than when it's paid by the company. Because in this MCP server that is running here, it's free for you because it's running on your computer. You don't even notice it. You don't even notice that you have an MCP server running on your computer. But it is running. Look at it. If I click here on edit, you will see that the commands that are being used to run these servers are running locally. This is a command that is called npx that you run in your computer here, npx, and then you put here some stuff, and then you press enter, and it will run the MCP server for you. So I have 3 servers running, and I didn't even notice that I have them. So it's free. It's free for the student. It's free for the user. But the cost of dealing with Sonnet is not free. So yeah, MCPs now are what make AIs shine, basically. This is the ultimate thing we wanted for AI. So going back to this, going back to our project, I just told Sonnet, or Gemini, my bad. I just told Gemini to use MCPs instead of telling me how to do things. So you'll see now that it's removing all these steps. Look, no more steps for me. I'm never, ever going to deal with SQL. Here, you had some SQL commands. I don't care about that anymore. So it will do it for me. So let me see. Let's see what happens. So I'm just going to say, okay, move on with the implementation. Let's see what happens. I need a bit more information before we can move on. I've listed Supabase projects. It already knows my projects in Supabase. Look, it knows which projects I have. It's telling me which one I want to use. So I'm going to say none of those. Pause them all and create a new one. So just so you know, here, if I go to Supabase, you'll see what it was referring to. If I go to Supabase, you'll see that if in my dashboard, I have all these projects here. And I just asked to pause them all. And I'm not using them, actually, yet. I'm not a hardcore Supabase user, but I will be. So yeah, here it is. Look, it's calling the MCP protocol. It's saying pause project, pause project, pause project. So it already paused 3 projects. The reason I'm asking it to pause is because I know already that Supabase will not let me for free to have 5 projects running. So I'm just going to pause them all so that I can have my own. And then it's telling me, can I proceed to attempt to pause the remaining? Yes. Whatever you're saying, yes. I will retry pausing. It seems project is now inactive. It might have been paused successfully. It's still trying to pause everything. I think it worked. Stop. Now it's saying the following information. It's telling me where to publish this. You decide. I don't care. So now it's going to create the project with a name that it decided for me. It's called Vibe Culture Platform. And it's going to create it in East, US East. And this is very close to where we're at. So that's good. Now it's getting the cost. It's telling me it's going to cost 0. Continue. I just want to get to the implementation of the actual features. Can you refresh Supabase to see the new status? Yeah. So, oh, look, when I already told it to pause everything, so it was already paused. This one was not paused. It should be now. So let me refresh. It is paused. Project paused. And now we created a new one. Look, Vibe Culture Platform. Here it is. So confirm your MVP focus cities and let me once it's set up the Supabase client. After that, I can proceed. Proceed. Look, it's telling me to store this credential. This is important. I need to store the credentials myself, but why can't you do it? I don't want to do it. You do it. Let me see if I can do it for me. Create the env file for me. I still don't understand why it stops so much. It says create a file, import an extra for createful. I can definitely create a container for you, but I can't directly create modified. Yeah, apparently it has some issues with files that start with a dot. So I'm just gonna do it myself then. Create new file, .env, .local. And here it is. And now let's continue. Continue. The focus city. What do you mean by let's? Right, because it's a hyper local. So let's make it focus on New York because that has a lot of information. New York. So it's doing it there. It's adding some sample information. That's why it's asking me, because it's adding sample information into the database. Here's creating a bunch of events, some demo events. Okay, now it's telling me what? The migration grid event has been successfully decoded. Now we move for front-end tasks. Once you have implemented these front-end components, they're fetching information. Let me know you're ready to deploy these front-end changes. What do you mean? No, you do it for me. You do it for me. You keep asking me to do stuff that I understand you will let me to help implement this front end. I can generate the code for them. Let's start. Of course, I want you to do it. Here's the proposed content. So now it's going to start making the changes. Let's see. Here's the first change. But it's doing it like there was already some. No, I'm going to tell it to. There was already some placeholder content on all these pages. I want you to update that with our dynamic stuff. It seems that it duplicated it. Look, welcome to Vibe Culture, and it said here, discover authentical experience. I understand your page already had rich structure and various sections. Our goal is to replace mock events with dynamic data. As discussed, we need to define structure for that. Okay. I added placeholders to feature votes. Propose changes for app.tsx. It will be significant change. I'll fetch a primary list. Okay. Another important mention is that we're using TypeScript, and that's recommended to use TypeScript because TypeScript has a lot of verbose. It documents the code a lot because it has types. Key changes in the proposal: remove mock events, import, added. Supabase. Next step for you. Apply this change. Adapt the feature event cut. What do you mean? Why do you keep asking me to do things? I want you to do all the code yourself. So it seems to be doing it now, finally. I'll share this code as soon as we have something on GitHub already. It's starting to do a build now. That's good. And it built successfully. So it's saying to run the development service. So I think we're going to do that before I confirm this. So let me npm run dev and see if we get something that it's useful. Vercel dev. Oh, my bad. I have to do it in port 3001. You see how it's duplicating this? Okay. Let me see. Once you confirm that, I would like to basically check the home page to ensure the events are loading correctly from Supabase. So we're supposed to have events loading from Supabase. We'll see. Let me get into the platform, Supabase platform. I'm going to get into the database here. And here we have a database that was created for us. It has an events table and an event category table and the authenticated users. So if we get into the events, you'll see it has no data. This table is empty. So let me just tell it. The event table has no data on Supabase. Is it supposed to have data? You're right, my apologies. It seems I missed a step of. Oh my god, it's not working properly, this LLM. The event category was seeded, but not right. Without any data, I can add some events. So it's adding some. So I added a couple of. It's adding the events now. Summer Jazz, a modern art exhibit, Shakespeare. I'm sorry?
Yeah, the category table was filled, right? But the events were missing.
Yeah, they were missing. Yeah, I showed you. There it is. Let me remove this. But now it should be filled. Let me see. Well, still empty, but we'll see. Okay, it's saying that you cannot add events if there's no user. Let's add a placeholder user. I agree with that. Or maybe it did it already for us.
There is a part that say that created a dummy user.
Okay. It's trying to debug. Look, it's saying that there was an issue with null, and it made it that it could be null now. They created by. And finally, it inserted the data. There it is. So it tried with several attempts until it was able to do it. So let's see. Here they are. Look, modern exhibit. And the user. Organizer.
Is that created by ID, I think.
Here, this one, right? It's null.
Null.
So that's good. We can now have. Okay, but let's see what happens next. Success. Now, if you run npm run, you should see. Okay, let's rerun this. I don't think we have to, but I'm gonna rerun just in case. And then let's check if the events that are showing are the same ones that modern art exhibit, Shakespeare. Nope. Browse all events. Just give me a 404. Explore events. It has a bunch of things that don't make any sense. So I don't think it was properly done. So let's see that now. I'm going to ask, where should I see the events? You should see events on the home page of your application. So the events are using featured event card and event card components. Okay, in the home. I see a duplicated hero. I'm going to tell it. I see a duplicated hero, and I like the design from the bottom one. Also, let me see what events are in the home. Because they have some hardcoded ones. Oh no, they don't have hardcoded. These are real events. Unless they do, let's see. No, these are real events, it seems. Let me try again and see here. So, Urban Art Exhibition, Just in the Park and International Film Festival. Oh, they're not here. Maybe I'm checking production. No, this is International Film Festival. Let me check the code again.
Maybe you can do a search for the title of an event.
Yeah, let's see. I'm just going to search for the word international and see what happens. I'm just going to tell it that that's what we see so that you can check it for us. Also, I don't think we are seeing the events in the home. I see an event, call it International Film Festival. Is that right? You're right to point that international is one of the events. You just see to supervise. That event sounds like it might be a form of the original mock data. They suggest that page must be using some older mock event data. Expect You're absolutely correct. Looking at several issues. Filtering mock data, no supervised data fetching. Yeah, but it seems like it's not following the plan. Like maybe this is ahead of the plan. According to the plan, we were supposed to create the tables, event listing page, create a server component to fetch all its approved events, display events card, even did undeploy to ourselves. So yeah, I do think it's following the plan. But it's not following it correctly, though. Maybe a good idea was to tell the AI to, before when we paste it, and this is how you learn, right? I think we're having an issue where if you bring a lot of components from V0, you need to give it more time to learn from them. And I think we should have another memory bank file where we describe everything that was brought into the project from Vercel. So that way, because what happens is that if we don't have it in a memory bank, it will keep forgetting about it, or maybe, I don't know, it will disorganize. It will have a disorganized memory of it. So, but if we tell it first to scan the repo and have it in the memory bank, maybe we save some issues. Another thing is that, I don't know if you guys remember, but it was telling us that it didn't index the repository fast, because usually if you paste a lot of files, it takes some time to learn from them. Because you can see it here, like in the settings, Cursor is indexing your code base and making a RAG memory database from it using Pinecone, like I was explaining before. So also, Supabase not being indexed here in the documentation it's a bad sign. I think it should be tried to re-indexed as well. But from our code, somewhere, I don't remember the specific part where it tells you the current state of the indexing on your code. Indexing here. It's finally indexed. You see, it's finally indexed. So now, maybe if we start implementing now, it would be different. But I do think that the memory bank idea will help us a lot. But whatever, we're already here, so let's just try to survive with this. Apparently, we can run the server again and see what happens. Let's see. No errors on running it, so that's good. And now let's try and refresh this. Okay, there's no more. Now it's pottery, modern art, and summer jazz. Summer jazz. Where's pottery? Oh my god. Here it is. Introduction to Pottery Workshop. Shakespeare, Brooklyn, and summer jazz. Summer jazz here. So I do think it's coming from, and if we want to really try, we can just change this. I'm gonna change pottery to misspell and see what happens. You cannot edit on a read-only editor. Okay. So what, do I have to do some SQL to edit this? Let me edit. No. Table editor. Database. Okay. Maybe we can just delete this one. If I cannot edit, then I'll delete the Pottery Workshop. And it should delete from the home. Or refresh. There it is. So it is loading correctly the events. So that's great. We were able to overcome that issue. But now I still have 2 heroes. So I'm just going to tell it to fix those 2 heroes before we move on with the... Well, we only have 9 minutes. What would you like to do next in these few minutes that we have? Should we try to do the sign in? Let's see, the sign in was mocked. It wasn't working correctly. Well, I think that's the next step on the... So move on to the next step. Oh yeah, that's a good idea, deploy to production. And we're getting some issues here, look. Cookies should be awaited before. Well, but that's so a warning. I think we can live with this and fix it later. I'm just gonna open a new, I'm gonna say now, Vercel. And if I say that, it will deploy to production while the AI is still working on the new step of the implementation. So hopefully it works. Here's building. Another thing I haven't done is accept this. So I'm just going to go ahead and accept, because you should be very careful with the control version here. Like, you should pay attention to accepting. Every time you're satisfied with something, accept it. And then do not accept it if it's the opposite, because it'll be harder to... It's like a separate parallel control, version control. Instead of Git, you can do it here first. And you can also go back in time, by the way. There's a possibility to go back in time to a previous snapshot. Okay, so Vercel says is that it's deployed. And it's giving an error, look. Server-side exception has occurred. See the server log for more information. So logs, here it is. Oh yeah. I don't have the keys. So let me add them. You can do that in the project settings. Here in the settings, I just go general, and it'll show a bunch of places for the environmental variables. So I'm gonna copy those two environmental variables now. Supabase URL with this one, and the Supabase anon key. And save it. Now that it's saved, I can just go ahead and redeploy the same deploy that we already had. So, oh, look, it's fixed. If I refresh, it will be fixed, apparently. Come on, man. Why are you showing my screenshot? Well, let me redeploy. Deployments, redeploy. You can also say Vercel again, and it will redeploy on the terminal. What happened here? So it implemented authentication apparently. Let's see. No. Okay, let's move on. According to the implementation plan, after setting up the home page and everything, we should focus on event listing and event detail. Given your existing project structure, okay, fetch categories, high level thing. Let's see what happened with yourself. Not yet. So here it was trying to modify the discover event client. So that's a page. Please running it. Check if the events and categories are loaded. Test the search date category price filters, both desktop and mobile. Check if the reset button works. Okay. I'll do some Vercel dev here. Vercel dev. I forgot the port. Let's see. Well, the production link is fixed. Look. Here's production. And it's bringing the real events. So we have in production, and it's working with real data from the database. Now we were going to check on development. So another link, the listing. So let's see. So the search, right? So let me search for Shakespeare. How is it? I'm not sure how it's supposed to work. Let me check in the implementation. What was next? Okay, so this page, events, app events page. So I think it's /events maybe. No, it's not this one. Event detail page. Event not found. But these are real events. Yeah, the event listing, the discover function is working. I think this is what it was looking at. Price, category, date, and search. So if I put here Shakespeare, it's working. Look, it's searching. If I search by price, all of these are free? No, there's one that is paid. So I'm just going to switch to paid, and it's working. And if I hit reset, it's also working. So this is what it was looking for. But I'm also concerned that it should be done with a backend request. It should not be done in the front end. Let's see. Free. I don't see any requests. I don't like when the filters are front end based. Because what if we have like 300 events? It's going to make the front end be boogie. We need to do it in the back end. And I don't know how it was done, but it's supposed to be done after you've tested the discover page. We can move to the event detail page. Yeah, well, apparently the discover. Let me just ask, and we can finish with this. Is the filtering on the discover page done through the backend? Or is it front end only? Okay, well, this happens. It's primarily front end. Here it is. Look, yeah. So I think in our implementation plan, we should update to say, and this also comes all the way to having like a base. You know, in the lesson that I told you guys that we were gonna upload to the 40days.com, where we were telling you the best practices to create an implementation plan. We need to add there that if there's going to be any search, it should always be done in the backend. Like that should be like a new rule that you have in all your projects. You will never ever need to search on the front end. That doesn't happen. So just don't do it, and we'll add it into and that's how you build it. Like, how do you build these huge best practices documents that you're going to end up having with experience and adding stuff that you want there? But just to finish, for the next class, I want to do something like I want to try to. We can either continue working on this. I think that will be an ideal scenario where I'm gonna move on a little bit more on my own, so that we don't waste the entire 2 hours of the next workshop, like completing on the features. But I do want to focus, since vibe coding is not just what we're doing right now, right? It's more than that, because since you're not the developer now, and there's an AI doing the development for you, you are going to be required to do more things. And we already talked about this in the previous workshops. Like you're going to be required to have real data, like actual data. Like for example, if you delivered a project before AI existed, you could just do lorem ipsum in your content, and it was fine. Now you're not. Now everyone's going to expect from you to have real data. Another thing, you would not be expected before to have good designs. Now you are expected to have good designs. So if you think that you can just do a normal design that just works okay, I think you're not going to be the one hired. It's someone else. So you have to be good at building the prototype like we did today, building the prototype on V0, and then moving it into your project. So those type of things are the ones that I want to be working with you guys. Like, not just like, yeah, okay, the magical code generation works or it doesn't work, but like all the processes, all the steps that we need to have like a good end-to-end vibe coding like specialist. So that will be prototyping, that we already covered some of it, not that much, but we covered some. That would be generating real data, that it's important to images. Images are a pain in the ass. We have to work with images. You don't need an image bank anymore. You can just use now ChatGPT image, and the Google one, by the way. Gemini is also doing great images now. So why not just using real images from those LLMs? So image generation, I want to cover a little bit of image generation, so we can use those images in our in our projects, in this project that we were building. Another thing, after deploying to Vercel, I want to work on an actual content plan so that we can have like features and we can have things that we publish on social media to have people come to the product, because that's going to be required of you. You are going to be, you know how people say no, and I have heard this when I talk to someone that is not my family and is not a student from the school or a developer about AI, they always say developers are going to be the first that are going to be the first that are going. And I think they don't understand the context. I think it's going to be the opposite. I think what's going to happen is that the developer is going to be the one doing the marketing, because now the developer can just use AI to automate some pipelines and generate some content. So I think we are the ones that need to learn the skills of the other people. They're not going to learn. You're not going to have a copywriter learn about code. You're not. But you are going to have a developer learning about copywriting, especially having some prompts there. It's not like you have to be like the best copywriter ever. You can have a bunch of prompts that you like, that you know work, and you can discuss them with your friends that are copywriters or whatever. And then you can just do an okay copywriting. And I want to do that as well. So yeah, next workshop, we continue working on this, but to the next stages of vibe coding. We already saw how to build the implementation plan. We saw how to publish it the first time and to have some like seed on the project. So the next time would be more like about the next stages of the project, the same project. And I encourage you to build something, please. Let's not have we'll see each other next time and you haven't done anything, and then I'm the only one doing stuff. Like, just let's do it together. Cool. Let me share the link. I'm gonna put the link on the WhatsApp for the GitHub. Okay. See you guys later.
Perfect. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. See you.
Janik, you have a question?
No, I just want to say thank you.
No, thank you for coming, man.
And the subscription, it's like by the time a person does it with you, is able to like code front end and back end with AI.
You mean like with the vibe coding course?
Yeah, like what you're doing right now.
Yeah. So one thing that it's required, like when you subscribe to the course, we're gonna ask you to do a pre-work first, where you're gonna learn the basics of front-end development, and that's gonna require some time of you, like let's say a couple of weeks, where you're gonna be, because it is important, not that you're good at it. You don't have to be very good at it, but you have to be able to read what the AI gave you so that you can tweak it here or tweak it there. Like, I didn't do it today, but for example, one thing I did today was opening on the right side the network to see if there was some requests here. You don't have to be a software developer to do that, but you have to be good at doing that when you're working with AI. So some skills of software development are going to benefit you a lot, and I think it's worth taking the time, taking a couple of weeks to get the gist on software development a little bit, so that you can then be a great vibe coder. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
No worries. Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.